Every Claude Code business tutorial skips the one thing that actually decides whether the project ships, the folder you start in. If you've ever told Claude to build something, watched it invent its own conventions, and spent the next 2 hours correcting it, you're not bad at prompting. You're starting from an empty directory. I'll show you the exact 7-file template I clone every time a new client project lands, the 4 sections in CLAUDE.md that stop hallucinations on prompt 1, and the 3 / commands that do 80% of the work. I'm Lazar. I run 3 production systems off 1 home server using this same skeleton. Let's open it. Here's the problem: nobody in those 4-hour mega tutorials wants to admit. You watch the course, you install Claude Code, you open a fresh folder, and you type the first prompt. Claude writes code. The code looks fine. Then, on prompt 3, it forgets your stack. On prompt 5, it invents a folder structure you didn't ask for. On prompt 8, it overwrites a file you told it not to touch. By the end of day 1, you've spent more time correcting Claude than building. And the worst part is, this happens every single time you start a new project. New client, same loop. That's not a Claude problem. That's an empty folder problem. That's an empty folder problem. I'll show you exactly how I fixed it. The setup is a template repo with 7 files. That's it. 7 files. When a new client engagement starts, I clone the template, rename 2 strings, and Claude is productive in about 40 minutes instead of 2 days. Let me show you the tree. At the root, there's a CLAUDE.md, a README.md, a Makefile, a .env.example, a docs folder, a scripts folder, and a hidden .claude folder that holds the / commands. 7 entries. Nothing fancy. The magic is what's inside CLAUDE.md. CLAUDES. env.example Claude Code reads automatically every time it opens the project. Most people either skip it or dump a wall of text into it. Both are wrong. I keep mine to 4 sections in this exact order. Section 1 is the stack. 3 lines. Python version. Framework. Database. That's it. No paragraphs, just facts. Claude needs to know the runtime, not your life story. Section 2 is conventions. This is where you list how the project actually works. File naming. Where tests go. How routes are organized. What gets logged. For an invoicing system, I'll say things like, every endpoint lives in a routes file named after the resource. Every database call goes through the repository layer. No business logic in route handlers. 5 to 8 bullet points. Claude follows them on prompt 1. Section 3 is the do not touch list. This is the section that saves you the most pain. You explicitly name files and folders. Claude is not allowed to modify without asking. Migration files. Production config, the auth module. Anything generated. When Claude reads this section, it actually respects it. I haven't had a destructive overwrite in months. Section 4 is run commands. How to start the app. How to run tests. How to seed the database. How to deploy. 4 lines. When Claude needs to verify its own work, it reads this section and runs the right command instead of guessing. That entire file is about 220 lines. It took me an afternoon to write the first version. Every project since then has been a copy-paste with 2 edits. Now the / commands. Inside the .claude folder, there's a commands subfolder. And inside that I keep 3 markdown files. /plan, /ship, /postmortem. /plan tells Claude to read the current task, write a short plan in plain English with the files it intends to touch, and wait for my OK before writing code. This single command eliminates 90% of unwanted edits. /ship runs the test suite, checks the diff against the do not touch list, and writes a one-paragraph commit message in the style I want. /postmortem is what I run after something breaks. It reads the recent commits, the error logs if I paste them, and writes a short post-mortem into the docs folder so the next time a similar bug shows up, Claude has context. 3 commands. Maybe 60 lines of markdown total. They run on every project I touch. Now let me show you why this matters in practice. I'll clone the template into a new folder, rename it to a fake invoicing client, and give Claude one prompt. The prompt is, build the endpoint that generates an invoice PDF for a given invoice ID. That's it. No clarifications. Watch what happens. Claude reads CLAUDE.md. It sees the stack. It sees the convention that endpoints live in a routes file named after the resource, so it opens routes/invoices. It sees that business logic doesn't go in route handlers, so it creates a service function in a separate file. It sees the do not touch list and doesn't go near the auth module, even though PDF generation could brush against it. It runs /plan first, shows me 3 files it wants to create. I type yes, and it writes the code. First try, no corrections. The endpoint works. That's not a prompting trick. That's the template doing the work. The difference between a Claude Code project that ships and one that drowns isn't the model, it isn't the course, it isn't even your prompting skill. It's whether the folder you opened on day 1 already knows what kind of project it is. Without that, every prompt is a coin flip. With it, Claude behaves like a junior engineer who actually read the onboarding doc. So if you take one thing from this video, take this. Stop starting from empty folders. Build one template. 7 files. 4 CLAUDE.md sections. 3/commands. Clone it every time. That's the entire workflow. If you want the template without rebuilding it from scratch, I keep a cleaned up version on BizflowAI.io, along with the actual client systems we ship, so go grab it there. While you're watching, hit subscribe and ring the bell so the next Claude Code breakdown lands in your feed instead of getting lost. And if you've got a workflow you want automated for real, book a free 30-minute discovery call on BizflowAI.io, and we'll map out what a custom build would look like for your business.